Hey guys, today I'm gonna talk about... Oh, you're ruining the video again! My only audience.
Okay, good. It looks like it fills out the space.
That's true. So we're gonna talk about red flags in men because... And I think this is important because if there's red flags, it truly makes you look worse as a woman. Like in your relationship, not only does it affect you mentally, but it affects you physically, and especially like long term. Can you imagine like the effects long term on your on your like beauty? I truly think like women that don't look good, it's because their men don't help them prosper. Not just financially, but also with their like physical looks, you know? Anyways, let's get into it. Why are you just gonna watch me this whole time? So my husband is here to give a little credit where credit is due. I'm actually married and have been for 2 years?
How do you get credit?
2.5 years. So I know what I'm talking about, right? That's what I can say. So red flag number 1. And with these things, try to talk to your partner, but if they aren't really budging and it's been like 3 times, like just cut them off out of your life. Especially if you're young, like it's not worth it. You know what I mean? Like cut your losses early, because as much as like women want to say that there's not like a timer, which I hate that term, but there kind of is a timer to find like men you don't have to compromise on, you know, like you don't have to compromise too much on. So number 1 is like, if you're communicating with them and they try to tell you like your feelings aren't valid. And my husband is in the back, so you'll probably hear him yapping. But this is so important because, okay, I know men say like, oh, just because you have these feelings doesn't make it valid. Like maybe it's not valid to you, but it's valid to me, right? And if that person can't see your point of view constantly, then they can't understand you. And maybe you guys are just not a good match together. You know, if they can't understand your perspective, unless like you have some like crazy point of views that actually need to be altered a little bit. But generally speaking, like if you're like, oh, this is making me really mad, and you're talking about it in a very calm way and they just don't get it, it's like they're not even willing to understand. Imagine that, like 10 years of that. Like you might actually die before you reach the age of 30 with that experience. So that's one of the things. Red flag number 2 is like a man that's not willing to get deep about their feelings and their thoughts. They're just not willing to unpack everything that's happened in their lives. And I know like a lot of younger women aren't also ready for that, but I really think that's what makes a relationship strong, because you're like, this person knows me so well, they really understand me. And that's what really wants you to stay with someone, right? Like you connect with them at a level that you don't with other people. And a lot of times it's because other people aren't even willing to get to that level. So I think that's also very important. And if somebody is unable to get deeper with you, then it's probably not a good sign for your future relationship status with them. Are you just gonna stand there and hear me?
What should I do? I'm not sure what to do. I'm curious. I want to hear it.
You just want to listen to me?
I'm listening. I'm listening to you.
Okay, get out of here.
I'll listen in the bedroom.
Another thing is you want somebody... I guess I'm not really doing red flags. I'm doing more so like what traits you would want in a partner. You want somebody that's like kind of stands up for you and empower you, because women struggle with that a lot. And I think women that have to do that for themselves a lot of times they're very in their like masculine energy, and it's nice to have somebody who's like always gonna be by your side, who's gonna speak up for you, you know? Like I don't see why you would want to be in a relationship with someone that doesn't do that, but it's definitely a red flag if they're unable to do that, or when you ask them to speak up for you and they can't, then that's definitely a red flag. Because it's just like, why? Why would you not want to help me, you know? With that, I think it's also included, like they push you to do your hobbies, to try new activities. Like my husband does that for me a lot, a bit too much, I would say. He could honestly relax on the pushing me front, but it's really good, especially when you're young, to try new things, and especially somebody from a background where maybe they didn't get to do as many activities, or they were more shy, or like just didn't trust in themselves as much. It's nice to have somebody be like, no, you can do that thing. So definitely look out for that trait as well. I think a red flag in yourself in a relationship is like if you find yourself just not caring of like what that person is doing, if the person's like talking to somebody and you just are like, whatever, I don't really care. Especially when you're young, you don't realize like what everything means in a relationship, like what all the actions mean of somebody. Like, I don't really care if he's talking to that girl, I don't really care if he's talking to that guy. You probably aren't that interested in them, and rather than just, you know, being in a relationship to be in one, you can do a lot better, or you could just focus on yourself as well. Another red flag is someone who can't acknowledge their mistakes. And when I say mistakes, you know, like as humans, sometimes we lie, sometimes we like twist the truth a little bit. If you're unable to acknowledge it, then I think that becomes a major problem in the future. And it just like leads to less trust. Even if you have lied or you've like said something but it wasn't completely accurate, if you can't own up to it, then it's just like, why are you even in the relationship, right? So that would definitely be a red flag. Like if you catch them on something and then they're like, oh, yeah, like unwilling to have a discussion or just trying to gaslight you, then it's not worth it. I mean, they shouldn't be lying to begin with, but I think as humans, especially younger, like it's hard. It's hard to unlearn some things, and it takes time. And I think society can be very judgmental of, you know, any mistake, but it's important to know that you can make a mistake and there's forgiveness and there's room for change and love, you know? At this point, I don't even know what number I'm on, but probably like 5.
Maybe a script.
I would also say, like, if you don't like his friends, you probably don't like who he is as a person. Like, he's acting one way towards you to get him to like you, but that's not actually who he is. If you don't like the jokes that he makes, because like younger guys make a lot of cringe jokes, then at the end of the day, that's who he is, especially with his friends. Like, I don't know. I don't find a lot of guys funny, so if they're making cringe jokes, if they're saying things that are really like weird or uncomfortable about women or just people in general, then that's probably not the person for you.
I would say number 1 is to believe what he says very literally. So if he's disrespectful to you openly, don't give him benefit of the doubt. Rather, take it at his word that that's how he feels.
True.
A lot of the time, guys will say things like, you know, I don't really want this to go anywhere. I don't really want anything from this. And a woman will take that and think that she can kind of change his mind. But if you don't discuss that, you just enable his behavior forever.
True, I agree with that.
And you have to make sure you're on the same page, or you're just putting yourself in a really like embarrassing position for no reason.
So another thing to be aware of is taking what men say at face value and always kind of like clocking them on it and being like, why did you say that? Don't try to interpret things in your own way, in your own head, like, oh no, maybe he meant this. Oh, he's not like that. If he said something, take it as is and then ask him about it. And whatever his explanation is, take that as it is too, you know? Don't try to find deeper meaning. There's no deeper meaning. He's not thinking that deep. It's just like, That's it, you know? And I think that's very important because as girls, like we kind of give like more passive information, but I don't really think men have that in their brain to do that, especially if you're already in some kind of relationship with them. Like there's no reason for them to go about things that way. So that will be my final conclusion on advice about red flags and just things to look out for if you're a younger gal. You know, it's good to enjoy your time, but just realize like every relationship really affects who you are and will affect who you are and how you handle relationships when you're like 30 or you're 25, you know, like if you're 16 right now. So be careful and be very mindful about who you let in your circle, who you let, like, I don't know, have any kind of relationship with you. So that'll be it. Bye!